Ahoy there folks, I'm Captain Benzie and welcome back to another developer Q&A video for Eve Echoes. This week the quality control department at NetEase have apparently been off sick or doing something, goodness knows alone. We've got some very interesting questions and answers up and coming, but we do also have something pretty cool on question number 3, so I kind of think it balances out just a little bit. Again, this week I have put the webcam on and I've donned the old captain's hat because a lot of you are asking where that's gone, do I still have one? Yes, I do. This is now technically the third captain's hat I've owned. The first one obviously went off to Mamasaurus at the end of that war. The second one was sent to Tahini at the end of that war. I wonder who will end up with the third one. Probably no one, because I'm probably going to have left Eve Echoes by the time anything interesting happens enough to actually warrant me handing this off to someone. Maybe I'll do a giveaway at some point in the future, who knows. Anyway, we're not here to talk about the hat, we're here to talk about the weekly developer Q&A. 4 questions chosen by you, the community, responded to by the developers, posted to the official Eve Echoes Discord, Facebook page, Twitter account, and in-game. Each week I take a look at these questions, I read through the questions and the answers, I give my own response to these as well, how I think this could affect the game, so on and so forth. A lot of you folks seem to enjoy these though, they are losing views recently, so if you want me to keep doing these, let me know in the comment section down below. Hit like on the video, subscribe if you haven't already, though I kind of have to assume you have at this point, and if you do want to go the extra mile to help support me making content like this, head to my Patreon page, my PayPal tip jar, or indeed my Redbubble merchandise store where you can grab cool swag like this. Not why I'm wearing it, by the way, just happened to be on the top of my drawer today. Anyway, so let's have a look at the weekly developer Q&A then for the 25th of July through to the 31st. Question number 1. Any plans to give the Venture 4 covert ops capabilities so it can be more useful in nihilist mining spaces? And maybe a bigger ore hold. That's surely to incentivize us to chase and clear those much overlooked sites. And yeah, I agree with this, and it's not just because I'm a bit of a covert ops fanboy, but because in EVE Online you have the Venture, then you have the Endurance and the Prospect. The Endurance is bonused for ice mining, gas huffing and harvesting, standard ore mining, and essentially it has the ability to move whilst under standard cloaks much faster than it would normally. Can't warp cloaked though. The Prospect, on the other hand, is the one you may have seen my videos about ninja huffing, or Jedi huffing specifically, because it's a very small, fast ship that is very good for certain forms of harvesting, specifically harvesting in dangerous territory. You can actually speed tank with it and ignore the enemies in there. Now, obviously in Eve Echoes, we don't have belt rats per se. Yeah, I know we occasionally get those little transport things spawn in a belt, but that's not really a belt rat. I'm talking about actual pirate aggressors that are a threat to the miners if not handled. Like, seriously, jump into a J-Space gas site and see how you cope with that after living for years as a miner in Eve Echoes. You'll die. Simply put, you'll die. Now, the Venture 4, I've said for a long time, is a non-ship. No one flies it. There's really no point to flying it because there's so little content for it and it doesn't really do anything special. Why would you fly a Venture 4 when you could be flying a Covetor 2, so on and so forth? Now, I've said before that giving it covert ops capabilities, so it's like the Prospect, for example, could be a really good way to revitalise the Venture 4. I don't think it should just be the Venture 4 though. I think the Venture 3 should have covert ops abilities and some buffs to it as well, so there's a reason to use that one before you hit Tech 10, because otherwise you've got nothing. Nothing between Tech 6, I think it is, for the Venture 3, Tech 5, Tech 6, somewhere around there. It just shows how much I care about that ship, how much anyone cares about that ship. About Tech 5, Tech 6 that you have the Venture 3, and then the Venture 4 is Tech 10. You want something that can still run that kind of content in the interim. If you really decide that actually running nihilist compressed spaces and mining them for ore is your thing, then absolutely, the Venture line should be something you can do from a low tier, and then it just gets really good at Tech 10. Again, I would love to get rid of the tech system entirely and rework it to be something much closer to EVE Online's actual meaningful tech system, where if you want to go into a ship, you skill towards that ship, rather than just, oh, you wait for a few months and then bam, you get the ship. Like if you wanted to fly a Venture 4, then you train your mining all the way up to proper advanced or even expert levels, add in covert ops skills and train those, and suddenly you can fly the Venture 4. To me, that would absolutely be the way of doing things. A nihilist compressed space is content that no one really runs because it's risky. You need a ship that is decent enough to scan one of these things down, and then you need to jump into it and actually harvest everything. And there's just no ship really designed for that. So you kind of need a friend to scan it, and then you go in with your miner, or the other way around, you go in yourself with a scanner, and then you have to jump back and find your mining ship and then jump back. It's such a schlep. Being able to scan something down with a ship that is benefited for scanning, cloaking, and mining would be amazing, and that would really revitalize and rejuvenise the whole Nihilus compressed space mechanic. What do NetEase say? Oh yeah, here's the quality control for you. Any plans to give the venture... I'm not going to read the whole thing, it's the bloody question. It's the question. And Nina pointed this out to them in the chat and said, you've answered the first question with the first question. And the response from NetEase was, thank you, and then didn't send us an update. And I'm running out of time. Like, it's already 2:20. I've got life to live and stuff to go and do. I can't sit and wait around on the off chance that NetEase happen to fix this before the end of the day. It'll be fixed when the Dev Q&A actually launches tomorrow afternoon, Saturday afternoon, UK time at least, is when they launch the Dev Q&A on Twitter and publicly. So expect this to have an actual answer in it when you read it. I can't read it right now, but I'm betting you, and I'm almost willing to put actual ISK on this, I'm betting you it's going to be something along the lines of, thank you for your idea, it's a really cool idea, and we think it could be interesting, but we have no plans to revitalise any form of industry right now because it competes with us swiping your credit card. So we're not really going to do anything, but thank you for your suggestion. I'd love to be wrong. I don't think I am, but I'd love to be wrong. Question number 2 then. I really enjoyed the design contest we had for the Science-y prior to its release. Yeah, I enjoyed the contest, I'm just absolutely livid at the ship that won it. Again, if you're watching this and it was your design, awesome design ship. Not for Eve though, and why the hell does an aircraft carrier in space need a landing strip? Tell me you don't understand how gravity works without saying, I don't know how gravity works. Yeah, it's an awful design for Eve. Cool design for a ship, but awful for Eve. It would be cool to see something like that for other ships or skins. If you don't already have plans for this, would you consider it? It was fun to see whose design choices made it into the final version. There is a reason that graphics designers and visual artists for video games are paid a lot of money, and it's because it's not as easy as just grabbing a napkin and some crayons, which is quite frankly what I think half of this community's brain capacity goes up to and including, but essentially the reason is that you don't just design a cool-looking ship. Anyone can design a cool-looking ship. Designing a cool-looking ship that fits themes and various different trends is the wrong word. I can't think of what I'm trying to say here, but there are design points. If you look at all of the Minmatar ships, they all have things that are functionally similar to each other. The most notable being the LADAR arrays, or solar fins, as people call them, you know, the solar panels. They're not solar panels, they are LADAR arrays. But you can kind of see that if you look at, say, the Tempest and the Probe, opposite ends of the Minmatar spectrum, they both have that visual design aesthetic that ties them together and unifies them as part of the same group. Same if you look at Caldari ships, you've got lots of sharp angles, little sticky out bits occasionally around them. If you look at the Cormorant and the Moa, and then compare that to something like, I don't know, the Raven, you can kind of see that visual language has been carried across between all of those. If you look at the Megathron and the Algos, those, again, they look like they're part of the same faction. The Science-y doesn't look like it looks like part of any of the factions because it's been designed completely separately by someone who doesn't understand that visual language to the game. That's not to say it's a bad design, it's just it's designed by someone who's not a professional, and unfortunately that does show, and I'm still very much of the opinion that the Science-y honestly ruins my immersion in the game. When I log into my Science-y character, because I do have one, I just hate it. I just hate that that's the ship that's spinning, because it doesn't feel like I'm in Eve when that thing's on screen. So I kind of hope that, I get why they would want to do more of these, because it's easy, low-effort engagement, and it actually gets the community to do the work of the developers, so they don't have to pay a graphics designer or a visual artist to come in and design a ship. They can just get us to do it completely for free and then give us some basic in-game rewards as thanks. Yeah, it kind of feels the equivalent of, hey, I could pay a bunch of removal men to help me move house, and I'd probably pay about $500 for the day for them to do that, if not more, or I could just call up all of my friends and offer to buy them a round of beer after. So what? Again, $7 per person for an entire round, you know, group of people to come and do an entire day of heavy lifting. Same kind of thing here. They are using you as cheap labour. And ultimately, I think the game actually suffers because of it as well. So I'm kind of against this. They're cool ideas, but there's just so little, if the science is anything to go by, there's so little quality control going on there that I'm not interested personally, you know? Maybe that's harsh, maybe I'm being rude, but let me know in the comments. You probably think I'm being rude and harsh, but it's how I feel, and I have to be honest with that. I really don't like the sciencey. I think the sciencey genuinely ruins Eve Echoes. I think visually it doesn't fit anywhere. It looks awful, and it drags me right out of the immersion in the game, and I hate that. Thank you for your suggestion. We're glad to hear that you enjoyed it, says Quan Liu. We definitely would like to introduce more events like this in the future. Please stay tuned. Of course, I'd like to introduce more events like this. As I said, it means that the developers don't actually have to do the work. They can get us to do the work and just throw some crappy rewards at us and go, cheers for your design. This would have cost us, like, you know, maybe 10 grand of work to get done, but here's like $100 worth of in-game items that cost us nothing. Thank you. Question number 3 then. With the announcement of Wormhole Space. Oh yes, Wormhole Space is coming to Eve Echoes, hopefully in September, August, sometime during the anniversary event. Will there possibly be any changes to the Nesta to improve survivability? Also, will any new exploration-related ships be released at that time? Interesting. Let's read the response first. Thanks for your question. For now, our development plans primarily focus on combat ships. We'll release exploration ships at an appropriate time in the future. Stay tuned. So, no. Non-answer there completely. Now, I've been trying to speak with Cloud a lot about wormholing. Wormholing is my shtick in EVE Online. It is where I live, it's where I spend 90% of my time. If you follow my channel, you've probably seen that most of the videos I put out are how to do this in Wormholes, how to do that in Wormholes, how this ship works in Wormholes, and so on and so forth. So, kind of, wormholing is my thing in EVE Online, and I've been trying to talk to Cloud about that to make sure that there is at least some quality control on this. It does worry me that I first heard about this in July, when it's due to launch in August, September. I don't think a month is enough time to get Wormholes up and running. We're talking complex things here. Systems that exist but only connect to each other semi-randomly. That you have mass limitations on which ships can enter, and whenever a ship passes through, that reduces the mass of the wormhole until eventually it collapses, so you can roll them, you can forcibly collapse a wormhole to create a new connection, or just to secure the area you're in. The fact that you have to have meaningful content in there that is different to what you can find out in K-Space or known space. You know, the systems that actually have names, rather than J whatever, 6 numbers. J bunch of numbers. I'm not confident anymore. I've had so little contact back from Cloud that I've got no idea what's going on with Wormhole Space, and the time frame that they're looking at here is, in my opinion, entirely too short. So, yeah, anyway, exploration. Exploration still dire straits. Sorry, I love exploration to pieces. It is the thing I want to do most of all in EVE Echoes, and it's still, despite the buffs done in the April balance patch, utter shit. There's no two ways about it. It's still shit. The loot's not great. The sites still can be ridiculously hard to find. It's better than it was before, but it's like I've sat there and said to Cloud, this is how you fix exploration. He's gone, cool. I understand that you think exploration needs to be fixed. I'm going to try this way. Okay, Cloud, did that work? No, it didn't, Benzie. Okay, so how about we try it this way? Actually, I'm going to try this second way. Did that work, Cloud? No, it didn't. Okay, so how about we try it this mathematically demonstratable way? No, we're going to try a new way. Okay, Cloud. Awesome. So exploration, I think, at this point, before we add new exploration ships, and quite frankly, I don't really think we need any, it would be better to have more actual exploration content. I would love to see the Tengu, the Loki, the Proteus, and the Legion added to the game. The Tech 3 cruisers, give them bonuses to scanning, or, you know, heck, import them as best as you can from EVE Online, maybe even have the subsystems, where you can go for a exploration combat vessel. But even then, having combat exploration sites like Forgotten and Unsecured Data and Relic sites, for example, that works really nicely with things like the Nesta, the Stratios. Good content that uses niche ships. And I'd love to see them add that kind of stuff for, yeah, add the Tengu, add the Loki, add the Proteus, add the Legion. Even if you can't do the subsystems, give us those ships, but as a combat scanner, like the Stratios is. That would work. That'd be cool. I'd be happy with that. It's not going to happen, though. But it is a combat ship, so I don't know. I don't know. As for this, will there be any changes to the Nesta to improve survivability? Tell me that you've never tried spider tanking Nestas. Like, literally, just remote armor repairs, multiple Nesters in a fleet with the drones, and just watch them go ham on anything and everything. Nesta doesn't need buffs. Nesta's a good ship, it just has niche uses which Echoes doesn't support. There's no content for it, is what I'm trying to say. And if there were content for it, the Nesta's a great ship. The ship doesn't need changing, it just needs something you can actually do with it. It's the age-old problem with Eve Echoes, though, isn't it? With the low participation in corporation clashes, oh god, here we are. Just get rid of it. Stop it. Stop it. Someone's going to suggest something here that requires more development time for a mode that no one asked for, no one wanted, and then they're going to look at the fact that no one wants to use this frickin' mode as a problem. With the low participation in corporation clashes, have you thought about other ways to allow players to enjoy that content? No. Fuck off. When you get there, continue fucking off. And then just go fuck off a bit more from that point as well. A cheaper entrance fee or allowing fleet versus fleet instead of corp versus corp would go a long way. No, get people to actually undock from their freaking stations and shoot each other. Corporation Clash was and continues to be a horrific idea. It removes even more destruction from Eve Echoes, thus harming industry. It makes for utterly pointless gameplay. Oh, we can just smash ships together like toy soldiers, innit? It's stupid. It's pathetic. Grow a pair of... Drink a cup of concrete, harden the fuck up, get out there, and blow someone to pieces. This isn't a difficult concept. This is not a difficult concept. That is Eve. And if you're going, oh, but I don't like my ship getting destroyed. Why? Is insurance not cheap enough for you? Like, seriously, this is Eve. If you don't want to lose ships, go play something else. Seriously, Hello Kitty Island Adventure I hear is fantastic at this time of year. Thanks for your suggestion. We've been closely monitoring the relevant data on Corporation Clash. We'll have a specific optimization plan after a group review. Stay tuned. So yeah, exactly what I said when Corporation Clash was first added. This mode is going to be a bust. And rather than just going, oh, okay, well, we tried something that nobody asked for, nobody wanted, and has no actual place in Eve, rather than just going, okay, yeah, that didn't work, let's just quietly move on and spend development time on the actual problems that people are asking for, they're going to waste more time trying to fix the shit that nobody wanted. It's right there in black and white. Well, white and darkish grey. They're still going to keep throwing crap at the wall until something sticks, despite the fact that it's just crap on a wall. We don't want crap on a wall, we want actual content. Instead of revitalizing Corporation freaking Clash, get out there and redo the AI so that ratting is actually interesting. Fix exploration, redo industry, add new PvE content. No, we're just going to keep going with Corporation Clash. The mode that no one wants, no one gives a crap about, but we're going to spend all our development time and resources trying to fix this crap. Because of course we are. The game has been out for almost 3 years now. When will the game get a 60 FPS option in the settings? The graphics are beautiful, but frame rates can be choppy most of the time. Interesting point, if the frame rates are choppy, then having a 60 FPS mode isn't going to change that. If your device can't support 30 frames per second, it sure as can't handle 60 FPS. Choppy doesn't... Oh, I weep for humanity sometimes. Yeah, if you have a device that can run, say, a 90Hz refresh screen, which quite frankly is not a new thing. Almost every modern phone can do a 90 FPS screen nowadays. Heck, my Asus ROG could do 144. So, you know, the upper cap exists. The thing is, though, if your phone has a 90Hz refresh rate screen, but it's going choppy at 25 frames per second, that doesn't mean that 60 FPS mode will help you at all. In fact, 60 FPS mode just means, oh, congratulations, you've got 35 FPS that you're still not using, rather than just 5 FPS that you're not using. I do agree, 60 FPS mode is something that should have been added to Echoes a long time ago. Pretty much every other NetEase game has it, including Infinite Lagrange. And if you play Infinite Lagrange, you'll know how freaking beautiful that game looks running at a full 60 FPS. And for someone like me who has a decent phone that can run that, heck, even my Google Pixel has 90 Hz, I think. I can't even remember now. 90 Hz refresh rate. I could run 90 FPS on this, and there are some games I play that do run at 90 FPS. I don't think it goes to 120. Pretty sure it doesn't go to 120. I don't think this one does, but my Asus ROG does, and I still use that from time to time. The point is, I can do 90. Why can this not do the frame rate that was standard like 5 years ago? It just seems stupid to have that artificial limitation in. I don't know. 60 FPS mode is on our development plan, but it's not of high priority. We'll keep an eye out for players' feedback in this aspect and do timely changes. We appreciate your understanding and support. Now, 60 FPS frame mode isn't actually that difficult to add. I go on a lot of people in Dev Q&A for suggesting stuff and going, oh no, that would be really easy to add, and like, no, it's not easy. You're asking for a really complex change. I know it sounds easy on paper, but once you actually look into it, it is a very complex change. This is not one of those situations. Going from a 30 FPS to 60 FPS cap is actually pretty straightforward to program. It's low priority, which I'm kind of glad to hear, because hopefully that means they're pushing actual freaking content for a change, but I'm not convinced they are. And if it turns out that it's low priority because they're busy working on mega super carriers or, you know, dumb shit like that, I'm going to be upset. I'd love to think that they're not adding a 60 FPS mode because they want to add new ratting anomalies and new stuff like that, actual small ship content, right? But I don't think that's going to be the case. I think they're not working on it because there's very little monetization in it now. No new players are joining Echoes because of the god-awful tech system and the ridiculous monetization that's happening. As a point, just as a thought on that topic of ridiculous monetization, EVE Online recently added a new pack to its store. It comes with some skill points, some cool skins for your ships, some other bits and bobs and plex and stuff like that. But it came with a booster. A booster that, when activated, gave your ship a 7% increase to energy turret damage, so lasers, small, medium, and large, and a 4% increase to your armor repairer's repair amount. There was one other aspect to it as well, but it was like a 3% boost or something. I don't remember exactly what. That is a booster that lasts between sort of 2 hours and a few days. I think it goes up to 5-6 days if you've trained the biology skill all the way up. And the community just lost their shit at that. A temporary booster that can be applied once to an account, because the pack can only be bought once per account. The booster cannot be sold on the market. It's a 7% buff at its highest level, and the community just lost their shit that this game was turning pay to win. Yet here we are, sitting here playing a game that has nanocores that they ask you to pump thousands of dollars into, golden nanocores, every time something new comes along, like CyberX and crap like that, the porcelain ones. We have all of these new things getting added to the game that are just crammed in and rammed in, and I'll pay this and pay that and pay this. And we just sit there and go, yes, sir, thank you, sir, please more. Please take my wallet more. Please take all of my money. And yeah, I sat there and said the community over on EVE Online was massively overreacting to that booster, and I do think they still are overreacting to that booster, but I also think the EVE Echoes community is massively underreacting. I don't know. Anyway, 60 FPS mode, yeah, I would love to see that added to the game. I think it would add a lot to the game. I understand that it should be low priority if you've got more interesting gameplay coming. I just don't think it's gameplay that is stopping this one being added. It's the fact that they can't monetize it. And they know there'd be mass outcry and no one would do it if you had to pay a certain amount of Aurum, for example, to activate the mode. That said, it's a really simple change. It would make the game look beautiful. Should happen. But definitely rework your new player experience. Get rid of the god-awful tech system and replace it with something actually meaningful that requires decision-making. And even beyond that, add new content. Add actual meaningful new content. Wormholes, who knows? Might be really good. My faith in the team right now is shaken to an all-time low. To the point that even the announcement that Wormholes are coming to EVE Echoes doesn't excite me, because I know it's going to be utter trash. I'm hoping it's not. You can sit there and say, oh, Benzie, it might not be trash. Yeah, one of us is wrong. I think it's going to be trash. You think it might not be. One of us is wrong, and I hope it is you, person, who thinks it's not going to be trash. I'm pretty sure it's me who is right, though. Anyway, that's this week's developer Q&A. Hopefully you've enjoyed, especially with the shiny captain's hat on here. As I said, maybe I will do a giveaway. I might take this with me to FanFest, as I am going to be up there at the end of September. If any of you happen to be going up to EVE Online's FanFest in Iceland, 20th to 24th of September, I will be there. I'd love to meet some of you folks. I know it's more of an EVE Online thing, but some of you do play both, and not all of you are in Catskull, where I've been talking about this an awful lot. There will be a few of us having a good meetup up there, so if you're heading to FanFest, please reach out. Otherwise, folks, thanks for watching right the way through to the end. Happy sailing, and see you in New Eden. And yeah, I know that's a crap salute.